at the scene in Cordova. Our crews have seen FBI and TBI agents going in and out of that house. The Shelby County Assessor's website lists this house as being owned by Lontrell Williams. That is the name of both Pooh Shiesty and his father. The rap star is in a halfway house right now after being released from federal.
Last night, April 1st, 2026, the FBI pulled up to Pooh Shiesty's family home in Cordova, Tennessee around 6 o'clock in the morning with flashbangs. This wasn't a wellness check, and it definitely wasn't local Memphis police handling routine business. The Federal Bureau of Investigation arrived before sunrise, deployed flashbang grenades, and flooded the property with agents while executing both a search warrant and an arrest warrant. That's the detail everyone should be locked in on. The home is registered under the name Lontrell Williams, which is both Pooh Shiesty's legal name and his father's. So when the feds showed up that morning, the real question wasn't just whether Pooh was going back to prison. It was who they were actually there for and why. Once you start looking at everything that's been going on over the past few months, the social media activity, the parole officer situation, the snitch allegations Pooh was publicly addressing while still under federal supervision, the situation starts to look way more layered than just a simple raid. There are multiple angles that could explain why the FBI was at that house, and none of them look good. You'll need to hear this because it all connects. To really understand how serious this is, you've got to understand who Pooh Shiesty is and the kind of pressure he was already under before a single federal agent stepped onto that property. Pooh Shiesty, born Lontrell Donnell Williams Jr., came out of Memphis, Tennessee, and blew up fast. We're talking one of the most explosive rises in recent rap. After linking with Gucci Mane's 1017 records, he dropped Back in Blood, and that record went multi-platinum, peaked at number 13 on the Billboard Hot 100, and became one of the most recognizable tracks of the decade. He followed that up with his debut mixtape Shiesty Season in February 2021, and the streets went crazy. He was everywhere, but almost as quickly as he rose, federal attention followed. His legal troubles began in October 2020 in Bay Harbor Islands, Florida. What allegedly started as a deal involving marijuana, codeine, and sneakers escalated into a shooting. Someone from his crew pulled a weapon, 2 victims were assaulted, and Pooh was tied into the situation. That same year in Memphis, he was in a vehicle when another individual fired a weapon at a gas station. Then in May 2021, he was accused of assaulting someone with a firearm at the King of Diamonds strip club in Miami, a situation where $40,000 reportedly fell from his lap during the incident. Once federal authorities stepped in, everything changed. He was indicted on serious charges, including conspiracy to possess firearms in furtherance of violent crimes, Hobbs Act robbery conspiracy, and discharging a firearm during a crime of violence. At one point, he was facing up to life in prison, and that's not an exaggeration. In January 2022, he accepted a plea deal, pleading guilty to firearm conspiracy tied to violent crime and drug trafficking. In exchange, prosecutors dropped 3 major charges, including one that carried a potential life sentence. He was sentenced to 63 months, 5 years and 3 months, in April 2022. Then, in October 2025, he got out early. Good behavior, time served, credits, all of that played a role. His lawyer even told Memphis News Network WMC he was ready to get back to music. And for a moment, it really looked like the comeback was happening. He dropped FDO, First Day Out, and the track peaked at number 12 on the Hot 100 in January 2026. He was named Billboard's first hip-hop rookie of the month. The industry was behind him, fans were locked in, and everything was moving in the right direction. Then this morning happened. But here's where it gets even more serious, and this is the part people aren't paying enough attention to. When Pooh walked out of that Pennsylvania federal prison in October 2025, he wasn't fully free. A lot of people don't really understand how the federal system works, so let's break it down. He was placed into a residential reentry program under supervised release. The Federal Bureau of Prisons had him assigned to the RRM Dallas field office, with a projected full release date of April 11th, 2026. That's not prison, but it's not freedom either. RRM Dallas oversees halfway houses and home confinement, and in real life it means one thing: you're still under federal control. You have rules, restrictions, and a supervision officer watching your movements. And if you violate those terms even slightly, they can pull you back in fast. Typically, being in that program means you can't just move freely between states. He was supposed to be in Dallas. But the house that got raided? That's in Cordova, Tennessee, Memphis. Completely different state. Now this is where things start connecting, and you really need to pay attention. Despite being under federal supervision and technically restricted to Dallas, Pooh Shiesty had still been active on social media, out and about shooting music videos. And this wasn't hidden at all. It was completely public. He was posting everything for the world to see. But that's just the surface, because the social media situation goes much deeper than a few posts. In late 2025, Pooh showed up on a live stream with his close associate Ben Don, and midstream, his parole officer reportedly called him during the live and reprimanded him for not being home. That moment went viral almost instantly. The internet ran with it, jokes, memes, people saying he was about to catch a violation. At the time, nothing official was made public. No confirmed violation was filed. But the reality is, federal authorities don't need paperwork to stay aware. When your parole officer is calling you during a live stream, you've already made yourself visible at every level of supervision. And that's the last place you want to be when your release date is still months away. But it gets even deeper, and this might be the most important piece people are overlooking in connection to this raid. Just days before the FBI showed up, Pooh Shiesty went on social media to directly address something serious. Allegations that he had snitched in his federal gun case. In hip-hop, those kinds of accusations don't just disappear. They follow you. And Pooh clearly felt the need to respond publicly. So he recorded a video of himself going through his actual indictment paperwork on camera and posted it for the world to see. In the caption, he wrote, "Traumatized. They don't know the half." In that video, he said, "They smacked us with more charges, thinking that would break us or make us." 3 of the most solid names you will ever see on a piece of paper. Now pause and really think about that for a second. You're still under federal supervised release. You haven't even reached your official release date yet, April 11th. And you're publicly discussing your federal case, your co-defendants, and putting it all on the internet for millions to see. That is not a move that helps you stay off the radar. That's the kind of move that gets your supervision officer paying closer attention. That's the kind of move that gets prosecutors interested, because anything you post publicly becomes part of the record. And they don't even need a warrant to access it, you gave it to them yourself. And then, just days later, the FBI is at your family home at 6 o'clock in the morning with flashbangs. Now, I'm not saying that's the direct cause, but the timing? You can't ignore that. And now this raid is raising more questions than answers. One of the biggest questions is this: was Pooh even the target? Let's break it down like a detective, because the details matter. The home is a 4-bedroom, 3.5 bath property in Cordova, a suburb of Memphis. It was purchased in April 2234 for $656,500. And most importantly, it's listed on the Shelby County Assessor's website under the name Lantrell Donnell Williams, a name shared by both Pooh Shiesty and his father, Lantrell Williams, Sr. That's not a small detail. That could be the entire situation. From the federal government's perspective, if they're investigating Lantrell Williams Sr., the father, for any reason and the property is tied to that name, that's the address they go to. The warrant doesn't automatically mean they're coming for the rapper. Could mean the father is under investigation. Could be financial activity tied to that address. Could be the property itself being part of a larger case. And here's where it gets even more complicated. Pooh was supposed to be in Dallas. If the FBI specifically came looking for him and knew he was under supervision there, why execute the warrant at a Memphis address? Either they believed he was there when he wasn't supposed to be, which itself is a serious violation, or the warrant wasn't mainly about Pooh at all. It was about that address, that property, and whoever is connected to the investigation tied to it. There's also the re-entry violation angle, and this is serious. Federal records show Pooh was supposed to remain in Dallas until April 11th if he was actually inside that Memphis house when agents arrived, and the FBI doesn't show up with flashbangs unless they expect something serious, then his presence alone could trigger a supervised release violation. And that's before even getting into whatever the investigation itself is about. Because a violation on a federal firearms case isn't minor, they can send you right back to serve the rest of your original sentence, and potentially add more time on top of that. Then there's another angle that deserves serious attention: his online activity. When you're on federal supervised release, you're not living like a regular civilian. Your supervision officer has access to everything. Your social media is monitored. Your location is tracked. Your communications are under scrutiny. So when Pooh Shiesty posted that video going through his indictment paperwork and publicly discussing his co-defendants while still under supervision, that's not just content. That could be viewed as an evidentiary moment depending on what was said and how it was presented. Could be framed as tampering. Could be seen as a violation of his release terms. Or at the very least, it could have put his case back on the radar of prosecutors. Because the internet moves fast and forgets even faster, but the federal system doesn't move on like that. So where does everything stand right now? Keeping it 100, as of this moment, there is no official confirmation about who was arrested. The FBI has confirmed that both a search warrant and an arrest warrant were executed at the property, and the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation was also involved in the operation. Flashbangs were used, and agents were inside the home for hours. But neither Pooh Shiesty nor his family have released any statement. His team is silent. 1017 Records is silent. His lawyer hasn't said anything, and no one has confirmed whether Pooh himself was even present when the agents showed up. And that silence? That says a lot. Because when something is a misunderstanding, like back in January 2026 when rumors spread about him being rearrested, the response comes fast. His label quickly addressed it, DJ Academics clarified it, and Pooh himself publicly denied it. That situation was cleared up within a single news cycle because the explanation was simple and everyone spoke out. This time, it's completely different. No statement. No clarification. No, this isn't what it looks like. That's a very different energy. And that kind of silence usually means one of two things. Either the situation is too complex to explain quickly, or the legal exposure is serious enough that attorneys have advised everyone to stay quiet. Because when lawyers say don't speak, you don't speak. Now let's talk about timing, because this is what really stands out. His full release date from federal supervision was April 11th, 2026. Today is April 1st. That means he was just 10 days away from being completely free, no supervision, no check-ins, no federal oversight. After everything, the plea deal, the prison time, the reentry program, supervised release, he was right at the finish line. And now there's a real possibility he could be sent back. The hip-hop community is already reacting. The streets are talking. Social media has been blowing up since the news broke. People are comparing situations, questioning whether this was targeted, wondering if his social media played a role, and even asking if his father is part of the picture. And the irony isn't lost on anyone. The song he dropped celebrating his freedom, FDO, First Day Out, peaked at number 12 on the Hot 100. The record was literally called First Day Out. And now people online are already joking about whether an FDO Part 2 is on the way. But this time, nobody's laughing the way they were back in January, because this isn't rumors. This is real federal agents, a real address, and a real warrant. Let me zoom out for a second, because this situation is bigger than just Pooh Shiesty. This is a pattern, and if you follow hip-hop culture seriously, you already know exactly what kind of pattern this is. The federal government doesn't forget. That's the most important thing to understand here. Local and state cases can get dropped, resolved, and moved past. But when the feds step into your life, they don't just close files and walk away. They build files. They maintain surveillance. They watch your social media, track your movements, monitor communications, and the moment they see something they consider a mistake, they act. Pooh Shiesty had multiple red flags stacking up right in the open: the viral call from his parole officer, the posts showing him out of state while he was supposed to be in Dallas, and the public video where he addressed his co-defendants and his federal case. Individually, none of these necessarily end a man. But together, all public, all documented, all happening while he's still under federal supervision, that builds a profile. And the feds are patient. They watch. They wait. And then one morning at 6 a.m., they show up with flashbangs. Then there's the question of his father. To be clear, no one is accusing Lantrell Williams, Sr. of anything right now because there's no confirmed information. But the fact that the warrant is tied to a property registered under a shared family name opens up a serious possibility that cannot be ignored. It's entirely possible the father is the actual target of the investigation, and Pooh Shiesty is only connected through that address. That would be a completely different kind of situation. We've seen this before, where family members get pulled into federal cases, and shared property turns into shared exposure. When the government executes a warrant at a home, everyone connected to that location becomes part of the picture, whether they're the target or not. And this brings up something the culture doesn't talk about enough: the vulnerability after release. When artists come home from federal time, they're not truly free in the way most people understand. They're under a microscope. Every move is watched, especially online. The people monitoring them are actively looking for reasons to send them back. And that creates a dangerous tension, because the urge to speak, to defend yourself, to reclaim your image, and to show the world you're still here, that's human. But it can also be the exact thing that puts you back in the system. Pooh Shiesty had everything to lose. Whether he moved too openly or whether something bigger caught up to him, we don't have the full answer yet. But what we do know is this: just 10 days before his federal supervision was supposed to end, the FBI showed up at his family home with flashbangs and warrants. That is not something that gets resolved with a quick explanation. This is serious. This is real. And over the next 24 to 48 hours, depending on what comes out, whether it's his case, his father's case, a violation, or a combination of everything, his future in both music and freedom is hanging in the balance. We're going to keep watching this closely. The moment there's confirmation on who was arrested, what charges are involved, and whether Pooh himself is in custody, I'll break it down immediately. For now, the question is still open: was this about Pooh directly, or is his father the real target? And did that video he posted while still under federal supervision play a role in bringing this heat back? Stay locked in. This story is far from over.